Carly with the red flag. The red light, excuse me. Here is the 45 lap feature, week 3 at Galletta's. Our first Sunday show. Again, our prior 2 Sundays were rained out. The start will go Jared Halstead, his second week of racing. He's in the Galletta's number 9. George Russell in the Galletta's number 2. Dick Dan in the Destroyer Dan number 86. Melissa Stevens electing to go with her number 80 in this one. Chris Stevens in the 4. Matt Stevens in the 3. Tim Galletta in the number 7. A.J. Nason, he is in the 6. Dave Latoulp in the 5. Jeff Tetro in the 0. And Chad Leroy in the number 1. Shadow Russell electing to start last, even though he's supposed to be handicapped on the pole. Justin Lamb did not qualify in the concept, not enough cars. Whoa, David Latoulip comes together with someone there. I couldn't see who from the night vision, and a little dark spot there. It's one of the carts with a reflective rear wing. It is the number 6, I guess. Oh. Oh yeah, it is hard to see. It might be the 0. Carly was scared by that accident that we had earlier at the distance. But as I was saying, Justin Lamb did not qualify because we just didn't have enough cars. The 24 is incapacitated, which is why Gary did not race. He does not have the money for the repairs. Needs a clutch and maybe some bearings, maybe some new wheels, tires on the front end. And they're a mess. Jared Halstead from the pole position in one of the heavy handicap cars. The number 9 and the number 7 are set up specifically for guys that should be well over 200 pounds. The number 0 should be for someone around 200 pounds, which it is today. Mike MC Howell forfeited. He would have qualified because he has a lot of experience. He raced on and off for a season and a half here at Galletta's, and has raced various other flat carts and such. He elected to flag. His father's flagging first and second turn. Jared Halstead commanded this race. Caution. It's a 1 negative. We love filling the track with as many cars as we can. This race in particular, we had 12, 13 carts. 12 carts. We could have had 14 if we had 2 more carts. We had 2 drivers sitting because of lack of rides. Actually, there were 3 cars that were sitting. Chris Stevens is back up to number 8. Matt Stevens is back up to number 33. And what's going on? And Melissa Stevens is back up to number 19. Actually, it's her starter, but she's driving the 80 today because she's driven the 19 the first 2 weeks, and she felt like the 19 was loose in 2 days. Track with a somewhat dry front stretch and a somewhat wet back stretch. This track in Galletta's is very unique. It's had loads of clay. However, despite the loads of clay, 2 dump truck loads, 1 in each turn, and spread out fairly evenly in both turns. It was a somewhat of a sandy clay mix, and it never fully adhered to the sandy clay mix with pebbles and gravel and rocks in it. A natural surface here, Galletta's, which is sandy clay. It just did not ever really adhere. Someone here stalled. We're having a lot of problems with the rookies here, but it washed down. The lower grooves actually have a rather nice clay, but they're slow grooves for our one-wheel drive karts. Probably safe to say you can take some flat karts out there. If the track is adequately plowed, adequately dragged, which Matt did do. But rain again washed up some rocks, which create the unevenness. Oh, this was something else. The rookies just having all kinds of problems, although they drive flat karts. These gas motors, they want to warm up a little bit. They tend to want to stall until they're adequately warmed up. And if you don't give them a little bit of gas, they'll stall. Or if you give them too much gas at once, they'll stall. You got to take it easy until they're warmed up. There we go. The race finally resumes. Jared Halstead in the lead again, starting on the pole on his handicap. He was followed by George Russell, who is always running up front, but can never find the lead and can never find a win. He's been racing for roughly half a season. He's made every race so far this year, so he and his son Shadow. His son Shadow has made tremendous strides this season. He started really all over the place, but he is getting the hang of it. He's getting a lot better. Another caution. The rooks out there, they're driving hard, trying to impress, and karts under them just the Galletta backup karts, they all can win. Don't get us wrong, they're not bad karts. They can all win with experience behind the wheel. However, for a rookie to go out there, they get a down wrong because it's usually rookies who do drive them most of the time. They're like triple and quadruple backups for Chris and Matt. Round car alt here was where Tim, the Galletta, he stalled and he was trying to get back in his spot ahead of Chris, but Chris was going to let him up there, but the green come out and then they got on him, so he wound up losing 2 spots for that one. He stalled during the caution, which we usually allow. One stall in the caution will allow you to get your position back. If you stall more than once, you probably got to get it back. That's usually the rule here at Galletta's. Firm rule that we stick to. Chris Stevens moving up, same as Matt, because of Tim's stall and inability to get back in position before MC Howell through the green. Tim Galletta's brother-in-law, Jared Halstead, who's only here for a few weeks because he lives in Ohio. He was up for his mother's funeral. His mother passed away last weekend. And somebody lost a hip pad. Galletta's one-wheel drive. You basically you want to put most of your weight into your left rear, which is the drive tire. It does most of the work on a Galletta's car. Rusty Elderstein's getting it to come off of the number 1. Just kind of a poorly designed hip bar. Brian Galletta and several out there has beat that hip bar up over the years and tended to hang off the side and not even really be a hip bar, and finally it fell off. There's our old Galletta sign designed by the late founder of Galletta's Greenhouse, John J. Galletta. Used to be in the corner of 5th Street for years, and another I'll tell you, this is a fairly frustrating racing because it's a lot of stalls, a lot of cautions early on. Not a very exciting race early, even though there's a lot of stiff competition up front. Jared Halstead, very impressive for his second week of action. George Russell again, he is in his second full season. He had a half season from the competition last year. He impressed everyone with a strong classic last year. He's in second. He's falling off the pace a little bit here. He gets a good restart, and then he fades for some reason. Number 2, maybe. Melissa Stevens is up there. Finally, we're in some racing action here, so I can actually name the drivers ordered. Oh, Melissa Stevens goes off the track and clobbers. Let me tell you, clobbers the tires and protect the greenhouse. We have full-frame greenhouses there. When the track was first built, they weren't there. Those greenhouses were built afterwards. That was just a big backyard / strawberry patch. For years, they now grow geraniums and hanging baskets in the springtime until they're sold out. And both of them are cleared out now, sold out, and moved up front. Let's look at that one again. Again, Melissa drove very hard into the turn and she clobbered hard. She had a sore ankle and maybe even an arm. She took an impact there. You have to be careful. You have to sometimes glide through the turn. She is driving so hard here. Here's the restart. Melissa resumed, but she's a little sore after that one. Jared Halstead getting a great start there. Pulls away immediately from George Russell. This means Chris Stevens moves up into 3rd place. Again, in Galletta's, the top 3 positions are bonus point positions. In every race you're in, every lap you lead, you get 1 point. Every lap you're in 2nd or 3rd place, you get a half point. That's been bonus points. We've been scoring here at Galletta's for a long time. Matt Stevens devised the system in the 1990s, about the mid-1990s. He come up with a point system. It rewards people that run up in the front. We used to have problems where guys would run up in the front for a 30, 40 lapper, have a great race. You'd think they pretty much won it, and then they break with a lap or 2 to go. Well, this rewards consistency. Because sometimes someone will win a race and it doesn't really tell the whole story. Matt Stevens again looking under his brother Chris, the 1 and 2 point men, founders of the sport of Galletta's one-wheel drive, gas flathead karting. And off the track goes AJ Nason. I believe that's AJ. It's hard to tell. Yes, it is AJ again. He loves it. His hour-and-a-half ride. He has been talking on the phone consistently about it. He is psyched. He gets the DVDs. That's the type of competitor we love at Galletta's here. Someone who wants to race cheap, who wants to race clean, who wants to race fast, wants to race as safe as they can, and no fighting and hard feelings, no cheating. That's exactly what we want here at Galletta's. That's why we have sometimes had disputes with going with other tracks, and that's why currently we only race at Galletta's, although we leave the door open to go to other tracks at some point, sometime, if they accepted our rules and our weird backward style of racing. And here is it. Wow. This is an excellent race here. George Russell fast in the Galletta's number 2. Jared Halstead not really been challenged all that much. George showed him a wheel on a restart or 2, but has not really come close to challenging him. He's staying with him now. He's staying within biting distance. Oh, he draws both soon there. That's a good lap by George, or a bad lap by Jared. Chris here, always his goal is to finish ahead of his brother, because usually it's Matt and Chris 1-2 in the points race every single year. In fact, the only 1 year where Chris and I were not 1 and 2 for most of the. And Matt Stevens here, interrupting my own thought. Matt Stevens just blew by both George Russell and his brother Chris. George was slow on that back straight or something, and Matt just blew by him, going low down the back stretch. He's probably the only one who can do that. Back to the original thought, the only time Chris and Matt were not 1 and 2 all summer, basically. And that's, 15 to 20 years of just racing these cars and knowing the track and, being cool, competitive. And they're always 1-2 in the points, except for when overhead valves invaded the track, and they immediately had a lot of horsepower and were able to give Matt and Chris a run for their money. 2 of them in particular were right up in the top 3 and 4. And but after we made the decision, you guys were not obeying our rules, were not saying gas stock, which we all were, and they were also overhead valve. They just had too much horsepower. We said, we'll split the motor class, but you guys keep coming. They stopped coming, and the rest is history. Right now, these are all Briggs and Stratton 5 horsepower flatheads with dyno 94 cams, and bigger gearing allowed for the heavier drivers. The drivers over 200, 230, so on and so forth. They get a little bit more horsepower, they get a little more like headers. And here is the moment where every driver who races at Galletta's must pass. Be tested by Matt Stevens. He is the master. Has won nearly 100 features since 2000 at Galletta's. He's won over 100 times. Also races in the Go-Kart league. But at Galletta's alone, he's almost 100 features. His brother Chris has won over 50. But then the next closest guys, a few guys with 6 feature wins. Gary Miller Sr. and Ed Maines, who's retired. Gary, who's on again, off again, flirts with retiring, comes back, does well, flirts with retiring again, he goes back and forth. He doesn't have the shoulder to withstand a full season, and he Chris here dive bombing high and low. He noticed there's no shadow behind him. Tim Galletta falling behind here with a cramp in his leg. It has slowed him up, and Chris now says, I can take my shots now. Here, Galletta's, the racing is so close. If you take a shot and someone's right behind you, you're losing the spot if you don't get your shot to step. You don't find purchase. If you can make the pass, you might get passed by 3 or 4 guys. Patience is the key at racing at Galletta's. A lot of newcomers find that out the hard way. That if you go for a pass too much, you're just going to be in last place. The racing is so close that literally inches can be the difference between. Chris almost had George. He might have been able to cut him off there, but it would have been a kind of a rude pass, but I think he might have cleared him there. Jared Halstead again holding up Matt Stevens as number 1. He has a brand new helmet, but other than that, and a brand new rib vest, but other than that, his car, the number 3, Matt in that old number 3, an old rebuilt Nanko yard cart rebuilt to be a one-wheel drive racing kart. That driver kart combo has more wins probably than pretty much any other local karting class. Best winner combined. Matt in that 3 has won a lot over the years. He started, that was the first ever Galletta's kart. Chris again probably had George. He gave him a little bit too much room, and George took him back. Here we go. Jared seems to be having a problem with his header. The header on that number 9, it has to be repaired better. And the caution comes out for Melissa this time in her 80. Also, she with a new helmet. Emerging from the woods is MC Howell's father, Eric. Did he see a Bigfoot, Yeti, Sasquatch creature in the woods? We'll never know. And there's where Shadow Russell retired. He felt like he got enough laps in. And retired for the night. His car, something seized up on it. I'm not exactly sure. It stalled or something. Wouldn't restart. So he pulled in. Jared Halstead, that gave him a chance to retighten up the muffler on the number 9. And now he's going to give it one more shot. But we said, you know, listen, if that muffler comes off again, you're going to have to go to the back. So he's going to have to work very hard to hold that number 1 position. We kind of gave him a pass because he kept the car on the track and just put that muffler back on with his hands. So as long as it don't shake off, he's got a shot at this one. He'll be back in Ohio next week, so he will not be getting too much racing, and he might step up for a few more times in the summer. George Russell now showing a tire to Matt this. Jared seems to be slowing down. Look at everyone is up now. Timmy Galletta in the 7. His cramp went away in his leg, obviously, because he's sticking right with the back. Look at this race. Jared Halstead, Matt Stevens, George Russell, Chris Stevens, Tim Galletta, Dick Dan, and even is that Tetro? I think it is. Jeff Tetro is staying with the pack in the Gallatta's number 0. Not too far behind him. Who is that back there? We had a lot of retirees out. Melissa Stevens. The whole pack of rookies, and Chad Leroy and MC Howell, they took off. So, oh, Matt here. Oh boy. Oh, he could have kamikazed them and lost points, but he raced them clean. Kamikaze move is when you dive bomb low and slash up into someone else's groove. It's clean. It's rude, but it's clean if you make the pass. If you crash into the other guy, you're going to lose points or lose points and a position. Somebody went up the track here. That was Tim Galletta. Tim Galletta is off the track, but no one else sees it. Flagman Wesley Ogre Stevens does not see it. The race is still continuing. Finally, Eric Howell was able to throw the flag. I don't think he lost a lap. There was concern. Timmy thought that maybe he lost a lap or 2 because the race continued after he went off the track. No one saw him over there until Eric Howell finally flagged down the yellow. He had to go into the woods. We didn't see it on the camera. He had to go into the woods to flag the starters down. The race was so tough and close that we couldn't even see it. Jared Halstead, only a lap, I believe a lap to go. It should be a green-white checker. But Wesley sometimes does weird things in that flag stand. Sure enough, he gives the checker here. Matt would have liked another lap there. Most tracks will do a green-white checker if there's 1 or 2 laps to go. So Matt Stevens was unable to take a shot at Jared, but Jared picks up the win. Only his 2nd race at Galletta's. Impressive win for Jared. Good work. Matt Stevens in 2nd, who probably make up some ground on Timmy Galletta, who was the points leader last weekend. There's Jared. George Russell, Chris Stevens, rounding out the top 4. I believe Dick Dan wound up getting 5th because of Timmy's voyage up the 2nd turn. He was doing a hell of a job staying with the leaders, coming up from the back for a change instead of being handicapped up front. He did an outstanding job. Jared here from his handicap pole position holds it in the handicap number 9. Set up for guys over 200. Jared and his father. His father's first time at Galetta's Go-Kart Speedway.
2nd race ever.
Yeah.
All right, let me
Get it,
see.
Tim?
Yeah.
I want to get it. Sounds good.
There you go. How do you got a feel?
How's that?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome, huh? Good job.
Good for Jared. He lost his mother. to cancer the previous week, previous Friday.
Yeah, I think it come off the one, I think.
There's that header that come off 2 times in the last 2 weeks. Matt's going to have to fix that.
Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Jared posing with his father
Mosquitoes
for an excellent Father's Day win.
Yeah.
Jared Allstott.
So it was yours, because I was trying to determine who it was, and you had the louder muffler, and I was listening, and it was just breaking up bad. Almost, it sounded like mine.
Yeah,
At the house.
You
might have to.
Well,
You might have too many RPMs on this thing.
Probably just that 3-stage header. It sounds a lot different than all the others.
But you could definitely hear it. Mid.
This started breaking up?
Yeah. Very delayed.
I think I got it.
Wesley Stevens had to go out and get a car that was out there all by itself. Victory photos for Jared Halstead and his father on Father's Day. Impressive win in his 2nd race ever. The reflective stickers on some of these carts, including the number 9 there, create it so that we can't use flash. And here is some shots from the heats. A couple of shots. This one was from the first heat. This was a great shot, suggested by my wife, Rungnapha, right before the rookie/refresher heat race. Excellent shot. Yes, that was my wife, birthday.